everyone, welcome to On the Great Couch. I'm Carmen.
I'm Dan.
And
I'm Mike.
From the Run List. So we've heard your feedback, and so instead of picking topics out of our little tin thing, we're going to choose the topics that you give us, and also we'll choose a couple ourselves. And the first topic, it's a little serious. It's from Grace Love. So what do you think about the case with the small Chinese boy who had his eyes gouged out for organ harvesting? So then she sent us the link from Daily Mail from UK. And basically, the 6-year-old little boy was playing from Shanxi province, and he was drugged and kidnapped, and they literally dug his eye out and took his corneas.
Yeah, it's pretty, the story is pretty grotesque and very heinous. So, if you don't want to have it ruin your day, then don't read it. But it's definitely, it's definitely a story that should get a lot of attention, because this type of thing has been happening in China for a lot of years, and especially since the late 90s up until the mid 2000s, there's a lot of reports about how this is literally organ trafficking is like the largest issue going on in China right now.
We hear about urban legends in the US like, oh, hey, this guy got drunk at a frat party. He wakes up in a bathtub full of ice and his kidneys are gone.
Yeah.
You hear about that stuff. This is reality in China, and multiplied by tenfold how horrifying this is in China. A lot of people don't know, but the organ harvesting and trafficking system in China is actually a government-run project that makes revenue for the government. Can you imagine how horrifying that is?
And actually, there's a documentary that I saw basically about that, and a lot of people, when I tell them that, they cannot believe the government is behind this illegal harvesting of organs. But when you think about it, it means multi-million to billion dollars. Like, for example, the corneas, according to Doctors Against Organ Harvesting, it could be worth as much as 30,000 American dollars per cornea. So right then, if you had the right, circumstances, you just made yourself a lot of money, and
With this little boy though, it might not be that. It might be some just black market organ harvesting, people that just snatched him. But we're talking about something else that they're systematically doing it.
Well,
so
the reason why this is happening, and one of the reasons why this might have happened is, and why there's so much demand for this in China, is because Chinese people, or China, does not have a systematic organ donation system.
Because it's usually against their beliefs as a society, because Chinese people they believe in keeping the deceased body intact. Whereas, in America, on your license, it's, they ask you when you apply for a license, do you want to be an organ donor? So in case, you died in a traffic accident, they can fly your organs to the nearest person waiting for, and America has a culture of that and China doesn't.
You would think, where do they get these organs then? How is the Chinese government harvesting these organs? These are from typically prisoners of conscience. Mm-hmm. These are from, they're not...
Or so they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're getting, basically, when you go into prison or labor camp in China, and you're getting a blood test right away.
Yeah.
So basically, when they find a match, and this is usually orders from overseas. This is usually people coming to China to buy an organ. When they find a match, they kill you or not kill you and just take your organ out.
What I understand.
And usually it's cremation is the end result of your body, so there's no evidence of
exactly.
anything.
It's probably, to me, it's the most horrifying thing that's happening today.
This is actually worse than the Nazis, because the Nazis used dead people to make, wasn't it soaps and things like that?
Right.
But they are using live people
Absolutely.
as basically livestock waiting to be slaughtered for their parts. And something to point out is that in the West, waiting for an organ, the waiting list is 2 years or something?
Oh, at least,
And in China, in less than 3 weeks, you can get an organ. So that you can imagine if for them, how big of a farm they have ready.
We should actually put a link to that documentary.
We'll put a link up, and what kind of makes me feel really sick to my stomach as well is, because they want to sell organs not from drug addicts, not from people with psychotic problems, they offer organs from mainly, what we read, the prisoners of conscience, who are people in prison because of their political views, of their religious views.
Right.
So these are people who they didn't do anything wrong, except for maybe they ran an underground Christian church. They're part of the Falun Gong spiritual practice, or with the Buddhist.
Yeah. Uyghurs.
And these are the people who are
Which
getting
are Chinese Muslims,
organs harvested, and that's just, it's sick to my stomach. Not saying that it's better to get it from a drug dealer or anything else, but these are really innocent people that are in prison.
Actually, most of them, they say, come from Falun Gong practitioners because supposedly they have the healthiest organs because they do meditation.
Right.
So, and there's actually taped conversations where people over the phone running these underground organ harvesting rings would say, oh yeah, of course we have them from Falun Gong practitioners because they're healthy.
Right, and it's what's really, just surprises me, and that doesn't surprise me, but the lack of media coverage from the mainstream media about this issue, because this is right now one of the most horrendous things that's happening in the world. So please take a look at this.
Yeah, I mean, there's and there's also an online petition we'll put a link to, and you can sign it. I mean, there's a lot of people that I tell, and they just refuse to believe it because it's so heinous. They're like, I don't believe that people can be that evil. And I'm like, believe it. I mean,
like, look at this little boy. It's like a 6-year-old boy playing outside, and they just did that to him. You can imagine what else they can do.
I mean, going back to that, it might not be part of what we were talking about, but this kind of brings up the larger issue of organ harvesting in China.
Yeah, guys, make sure to check out that short film that we talked about and sign that petition because it's a thing that nobody really talks about. And also, thoughts to the boy and his family and everyone who has been affected by organ harvesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the next topic, we're gonna go a little lighter because this was a really serious topic. This one is actually an article on CNN about wedding photos in Asia. So in Hong Kong, couples spend a lot of money for their pre-wedding photos, not their wedding photos, like double the amount of the money for the pre-wedding photos. So they take all these photos and they print it out in albums and show them off on the wedding days.
Okay, so they probably do like a MP3 slideshow or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, so is that common to spend more for your pre-wedding? Because here in America, that's probably not common.
Yeah, usually they like actually wear all the clothes, like all the wedding gown and all that stuff, and they go to different locations. And like for this one that I watched the video, they actually do like photoshops. Like basically this person has like a cat that's like, passed away, and they Photoshop the cat in the photo.
Wow.
Yeah. I think like for the Asian ones, it's very like posed.
Yes.
But for the Western ones, like just act natural. And,
it's
like,
more
do what
candid.
do what you need to do, and then I'll just take photos of you.
I mean, I've seen posed ones in the U.S. style,
but not as posed as these ones.
I mean, these are like, it's like you're gearing up for like this movie shoot.
Yeah, and they have like really funky clothes, like the European style, and like different dresses and beach feel.
When I was in China, when you were a kid, you started taking
photos.
These photos when you were a kid.
I've taken the photos.
These crazy studio, you're dressing up like
every single person in China has taken those photos.
But do they do that in America?
No, they don't. They'll take like yearbook photos. They'll take like normal, nice looking. In China, when you're a kid, you're dressing up as like a warrior. You're a
princess.
If you guys go to New York, you walk around Central Park or Prospect, you'll see them. You'll see them walk around and they're posing. And my friend, they tell me, they're like, well, the Chinese, a lot of issue with Chinese is the reason why you said they need to be posed a lot. Is a lot of them, they don't know how to just act naturally.
Yes, that's another point. Good point.
Go ahead.
In the video, the funniest thing was like the guy kisses the girl and the guy's like,
yeah, dude.
And they have no face. Like
my friend tells me, he's like, okay, when he would ask these couple, they're already like basically married, to kiss, and then two things will happen. One would be they're so shy, the girl just like, no, like not gonna happen. It's like people walking in a park. How can I kiss in front of people walking in a park? The second is just the expression of the kiss. Like the guy would be so forced and the girl doesn't seem like she likes it. It's just like in pain. This is so suffering.
I'm like, for me, I'm spoiled forever because like before I couldn't tell the difference between like a David's bridal $100 gown and like an expensive gown. But now I worked at an actual wedding store. I'm like, crap, now I can tell why this is so crap. And then I can never go there.
Date a girl who worked at a wedding store.
Exactly, because you'll be like, oh, it's not.
It's like Chantilly lace from France.
Oh, this lace is not the real lace.
Don't get a white gown. You're not supposed to get a white gown.
What? Oh, what? Wait,
what's all gowns white?
It's supposed to be ivory or eggshell.
What's the difference between
because
ivory and
white, when it photographs, it's blue. Like the polyester white is blue, but ivory, it's like a more like vintagey, like nicer looking. When you photograph, it looks white, but it's not. Anyway, it's a completely different conversation.
I mean, it's good to have a friend, of course. Then we can consult you, but not to
I'm
actually.
not consulting her. she's gonna give like my future wife bad advice. She's like, that's not velvety enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. What is there
And
velvet in
that's
the
just
wedding
the
gowns?
gown. I mean, you know, when I first found out that you're supposed to give a girl 2 rings in America,
Yeah.
I remember I was 13.
But your other ring doesn't cost that much.
Oh,
It's only the diamond
but when you're 13, I'm like, I already gave her 1 ring. Why gotta give her another ring?
Go for the Chinese custom. We don't wear rings.
Oh, that's true. My parents don't have
Yeah,
rings.
give them a piece of
No,
jade.
you gotta give
a
them
piece
2
of
rings.
jade.
You gotta give them 2 rings.
All right.
That's how it is here.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, tell us what
So
show.
our girl fans just, half of them just were like,
God.
screw you guys, if we ever even had any to begin with.
We're nice guys. We are.
Except that you're cheap as hell.
Hold on. We spend money where it matters, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A wedding
we'll
is
buy
once in a
you
lifetime.
Awesome other stuff. Like we like to travel, so.
Yeah.
The honeymoon?
The honeymoon.
Yeah, we will spend on the honeymoon.
Okay.
Chuck E. Cheese.
All right.
Jersey.
Okay, guys. Well, tell us what your for girls or even guys, tell us what your dream wedding is.
Yeah.
Comment below. All right. The last one is a question from Linda Lewis Ford. In China, do they have campgrounds like we do in the USA? You know, places where you bring your tent or pop-up camper to camp for a week, make s'mores or sing around the fire. What is the equivalent in China when it comes to going on camping vacation?
I never seen a campground in my life. Not to say they don't exist. I don't know for a fact
You
that
mean
they don't
China,
exist in
right?
China.
Yeah.
I never seen one
Yeah.
in my life. And also, we don't camp. Like Chinese, at least in a city, we don't camp because why?
Like Mike said, Chinese people don't camp because the idea of camping is bonding. The idea of spending a weekend out in nature, with a campfire, sitting around the campfire, telling ghost stories, making s'mores, going out to the lake, swimming. That's a whole culture in America where, kids take time off to go camping,
Right.
to bond,
Yeah.
to have fun, to get in touch with. It's really great. I love it. But this is what I was telling you earlier. Like in China, people study so hard. Like kids are like, parents are like, take you to the camp for 2 weeks. No, you're hitting the books. It's a different idea of relaxation.
Well, I don't know, because to me, why Chinese people don't camp is because they grew up in a camping situation. Like they don't have real toilets. They have to go
Good point. Very good
get their
point.
own water and stuff. And now that they moved to the city and they have running water and they
Yeah.
have flushable
That's
toilets,
another
why
great
would
point.
they go back to that way of living? Like hell no, I will go.
Yeah.
If I want a holiday, I'll take a luxury holiday. I'll live
right.
in a 5-star hotel.
Right.
So I'm going to disagree about the bonding part because I think it's because they don't want to live like
I totally
before.
agree. I totally
Because
agree.
I think parents still bond with their kids,
course,
but
yeah.
just not in that way.
Right.
They might go to Disneyland or like
Exactly.
some other place, but not through camping.
Well, camping in the U.S. is a lovable,
Yeah.
positive experience.
Right.
I grew up in the Midwest. I camped every week because we loved it. Okay, you
Yeah.
go camp, you make a fire, you cook your own stuff.
Hiking.
You live off the land. You bond with nature. That's awesome. But how many? Okay, a lot of people in China live in cities, but a lot of people do not.
Right.
And the city people, they went to the country before. I mean, I lived in the city. I grew up in
from the country before.
I've been to the the rural areas before. My aunts in China would say, hey, let's go visit this doctor in this very rural village. I've been there. I hate it. It's muddy.
Yeah.
It's gross smelling.
Yeah.
There's manure smells everywhere.
But see, you wouldn't go camping there.
I
That's just
don't
you
want to
going-
go out of the
Yeah.
city. I just
Right.
to me, like the people in the city anyway.
Yeah.
Why in their heads, a lot of them, this is what I was thinking. Me and my friends were like, okay, why are we buying a tent and going and living in this mud, like countryside? There's a bad connotation
Absolutely.
associated with camping in the very rural areas in China. That's what I'm
Absolutely.
trying to say. And I'll tell you one more reason why Chinese don't go camping, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons. Okay, you guys who are watching, if you grew up in China or you have Chinese parents that grew up in China, you ask them if you can go camping in China. First thing they're gonna say is, no, why? Someone's gonna kill you. They're gonna someone's gonna
that's
just
true,
cut
yeah.
through your tent and kill
Yeah.
you. Like that's
Yeah.
what the first thing they're gonna pop up in their head.
Right.
There was an article that we covered on the run list
Yeah.
about this girl. Actually, we didn't end up covering the story, but there was this girl who asked her dad. She graduated college,
Yeah.
and she asked her dad if she could go on a 3-day bike ride trip from one part of the country to the other.
In China, right?
In China.
Okay.
She's a girl with her friend. And her dad said yes, which really surprised me. But what ended up happening was that her dad followed her in the car for 3 days,
Oh, man,
going
to
like
make sure.
5 miles an hour, to make sure she didn't know he was
Following
behind her,
her, yeah.
and followed her
To make sure she was
to make sure
okay.
no one killed her.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, there's a safety concern here. Like,
Yeah, wow.
The rural areas in China, the impression, at least for me and for a lot of other people, is not safe. There's not a lot of cops. There's not a lot of protection, and you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's a whole like different realm when you go into the rural areas in China, especially at night for days.
Yeah.
It's not safe. A lot of people. That's what they think
Well, I
about.
mean, not just in China, of course, in other parts of the country, world too.
Sure,
like I have
sure.
friends who went to South America, and you face the same things. So it's definitely a concern.
Yeah. Well, guys.
Wait, so Linda, we don't know if there's any camping
Yes.
grounds in China. We don't even know if people camp. Maybe it's different now. But
Maybe it's different now,
If you
but-
find some, let us know.
Tell us your camping experiences if you have any, and that's it for now. Make sure to submit your topics and
Yeah.
questions to us through hashtag #OTGW. You can do it on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever,
Yep.
and we'll pick your questions. And thanks to Mike from the Run List. Check out his channel, and that's it. And we have new on the Great Couch every Thursday. Keep forgetting to tell you guys
Thursday or
that.
Tuesday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday. So
I know.
check back. All right.
Bye,
Thanks
guys.
for watching.
See ya.
See
Take
ya.
care.